Hello everybody, back for another live video, this time with Driven Bikes right here. Now, if you don't remember Driven Bikes, it has been a while since I've done a review for them, but I have done a review. So Ben over at Driven Bikes, the owner, has sent a bike to me in the past. We've done business on other bike-related things, so good quality bikes from what I saw before, and looks like quality-wise, still good. So no worries there. This is going to be a step above some of the last reviews I've done on, the Magicycles and the Hemiway and some of the other, sub $1,000 bikes or the $1,500 bikes. This one's over the $2,000 price point. I think if I remember correctly, about $22.99, but it's a good bike. There are some things you're going to get on something like this that you wouldn't get on the others. So a little bit of a price jump, but I'll show you what those differences are in just a moment. So thank you everybody for joining on the live. Rich is here again. He is a regular. So I don't know what your comment means by something. We're reviewing something. I don't know. You have something to say, perhaps? If you're not a member of the channel and you want to chat, you can do that just by hitting that join button down below the video. Otherwise, you can always comment on the videos. Just the live chat we reserve for the members filters out all of the junk that I've seen happen on others. So looks like Jessica's in the chat saying, what's up to everybody? Dawn C, that name looks familiar. I think you were here on one of the previous lives. Oh, the prompts said say something. See, I don't see that on my end, but now I get it. Don just finished 100 miles on his Crusader. Awesome. So first 100 miles on the bike, that's great. In the background, what you're not seeing is there's 3 different Crusaders being picked up behind camera. So more of those going out. Cool. Glad to hear you got your bike and are getting miles on it. Peter, I don't know the answer to that question. The tax credit thing is fairly quiet. Who knows? Who knows anything with stuff like that? Yes, Jerry, hi. And I don't know how to pronounce that screen name, 54. But thank you. Awesome that you just got back from a ride. Hello to Mark. Hello to Wendy. Solar power stuff is always good. Oh, Jerry says he just got over 100 miles on his new Saber. So cool. That is great news as well. All good stuff. I like to hear that you guys are out riding. So let's check out the Driven bike right behind me here. And here we go. Ta-da! This is, so Benjamin over at Driven Bikes is down in Southern California, and they do a lot of beach cruiser style bikes. Still fat tires, which we know and love, of course, very much, but very much beach cruiser styles. They've got some step-through versions. They've got 20-inch tires, 26-inch tires, but basically what this one's called the Playa Express 750. So 750 watt rear hub motor from Bafang. I had to look at the motor and just double check because I knew it was Bafang before. Wanted to make sure I wasn't telling you anything incorrectly. George, new member for the channel, although unless there's 2 guys with that last name, maybe not new to buying from Bolton e-bikes, perhaps. That name looks somewhat familiar from, or maybe comments, I don't know, something. I know that name from somewhere. Rich, thank you for commenting on my nice Bolton e-bikes hat, available at boltonebikes.com. Come buy a bike in person, I'll give you a hat. But you got to come buy a bike. That's the key thing there. Let's see. George says, laugh out loud. Sure, great. He's probably thinking, of course you know me. Peter, good question. What impressed you at Sea Otter? Sea Otter Classic was a good show. As you guys have seen, I have started putting out videos about things we've seen at the show. Curious to see what you guys think about the Christini all-wheel drive bikes. That's the video that we released yesterday, as well as the, see, I'm trying to choose my words carefully because I don't want to spoil all of the things that I did see that I didn't show you yet. The next video coming out is probably going to be on the Fantic Italian made e-bikes. So that will be pretty cool. HPC, they've got an e-bike that does like 70 miles an hour. They were at the show, got a quick interview with them. Lots of cool stuff going on. We'll reveal more of that later. Brian, awesome. Thank you for becoming a member of the channel. Stay in that chat, ask questions, let us know what you want to know about this bike or just random e-bike questions. As you can see, I try to answer all of them if possible. Oh, George says, no, just got turned off and got turned on again. Okay, so George, welcome back to the channel. Brian, awesome. Thanks again for joining. Yeah, and Jessica's saying so many things. We do. We have a lot of reviews and a lot of things from the Sea Otter Classic. Now, funny enough, I'm not going to spoil any details, but I continue to make some good conversations and see good things even after the show. So we're going to keep following up. I guess if you guys really want to know some of the tidbits, helmets are coming to Bolton e-bikes. Not Bolton e-bikes branded helmets, but good name brand helmets. I've got two companies that we're talking to. One of them is probably going to be the majority of the helmets that we stock, and they have a very wide variety. Had a really good interview with the guys at the show. That will be coming very soon, so stay tuned for that. And then another one that just happened to be at the show that is different from them was the Sena helmets, or Sena. I don't know if I'm even pronouncing that right yet. That have Bluetooth two-way communication, so you can talk to your fellow riders, either two people or even multiple people, which is pretty cool. So two different styles of helmets, two different price ranges, of course. Those are things that are coming and that I'm pretty excited about, because odds are most of you need new helmets when you're buying new bikes. And some of these new helmets are really cool. So can't wait to show you more on that. Saw some awesome braking related components that could apply to all of you. So if you already have an e-bike, I'm hoping we're going to have some e-bike specific braking components. And don't worry if you already have the Juentech brakes or hydraulic brakes or something else. These are things that'll work on your bike to make your brakes even better than they are now. We're talking pads, rotors, rotor sizes you've never even dreamed of. There's some really cool stuff that I saw there. So definitely looking for that. Which, speaking of brakes, the driven bikes, because that's what I'm here to review, has some good sized rotors. I'm on the opposite side of the bike as the brakes, but from here they look like 180 millimeters, and they are Tektro hydraulic. So that's one of the things you're getting on this bike that you're not getting on those cheaper models that I mentioned earlier. This is a bike with hydraulic brakes. And if we zoom in a little bit here, hopefully this shows up on camera, you also get really nice pearly paint jobs. I remember showing this off on the driven bikes models before. The last one I reviewed was a folding model that was red, and the paint job was just super cool. These just awesome glossy colors, and they have options. So this is called a steel blue, and they have like, I don't know, like 5 different color options for this bike alone. So if you're looking for something with a little bit more style, and you'll notice the rims color matched to the fenders in the frame. Those are painted as well. So that's one of the things that you're getting, is super cool colors and options. Now they won't paint it custom for you like, you know, some of these other even more expensive companies will, but for the price you can pick from some really cool color options. All right, I got to scroll back up because I see more comments in here. Oh, here's a good question. Because I brought up the Christini bikes, I assume, when you have an all-wheel drive bike with front and back motors, does the controller synchronize them in terms of power to each, or are they independent? They're independent. And it might sound a little bit weird, but it actually works perfectly fine that way. Doesn't cause any issues whatsoever. So no, they're not actually synchronized, but they're not mechanically linked in any way, so they don't need to be. It just means that if one motor has a little more power, it's going to be pushing or pulling depending on its front or rear. One's going to be drawing more or less power, but it actually is very seamless. Will never really cause you an issue. Jessica says she'll be in an event coming up and will be wearing one of the helmets. That's true. That is the plan. Dawn says, I need Bolton decals from one of my old motorcycle helmets. Believe it or not, one of the companies that we are working with that makes bicycle helmets also makes motorcycle helmets. Jerry has one of these Sena helmets already and loves it. That's good. Those are the kinds of things I need to hear before we start stocking new helmets. So we'll certainly be in touch with them. Well, I was today actually working on paperwork for that to get that going. Peter says, I'll trade in hydraulic brakes for a suspension fork. Depends on your riding. So driven bikes, no suspension. This is like a beach cruiser style. I think the most similar thing I've got to this is the Cheetah, which is at an even higher price point, and you're paying for that Cheetah look. This is very similar in terms of comfort, in terms of ride, you know, big comfy saddle. Look at, it's a busy place today. All sorts of stuff going on. But very laid back, cruiser bars, very comfortable to ride. But neither of those have a suspension fork. That's why I was bringing that up. I'm going to turn the camera around because I think you guys can see me better. There we go. Much better. So for this, something beach cruiser style, yeah, I'd go for the hydraulic brakes, be able to stop, cruising up and down hills. Don't need the suspension. You know, if you're going to be doing more off-road stuff, then I'd still want the hydraulic brakes and, of course, the suspension fork, which we have the Lancer full suspension bike still in stock, believe it or not, although one of the sizes is getting a little thin, so just be aware of that. Rich says, almost looks like a beach cruiser. Yeah, totally is. These are comfy beach cruiser bikes. Could be ridden anywhere in the city. This is not an off-road bike. That's the one thing that it definitely isn't. Hello. All right, let's check out the, let's get you up and close and personal with the bike. I'm going to roll in. Our son is moving. This is the tricky thing about my review spot here. Sorry if I'm making you camera sick. My cord is tangled. We're moving around. Okay, don't worry, we're coming back. Okay, we're going to get it out in the sun so you can see the bike, like I said, because the shadows are moving all the time on the building here. But hey, this is the spot we got. Okay, let's check it out now. So battery, 48 volts, and I'm going to have to check the website for the capacity. Actually, it's on the sticker. I think it's on the sticker. We're going to look at the sticker. Okay, perfect. Again, I want to make sure I'm telling you the right stuff. This is a 48 volt, 21 amp hour battery. So yeah, you heard that right, 21 amp hours. That, I think, makes this bike worth the extra several $100s versus some of the others. That is a big battery. That's what we have on the Foxbat and the Sabre. Those are, you know, $2,800 bikes. This is less than that. So just something to be aware of. Nice big batteries on the driven bikes. The other things are programmability and performance. It's using, let's turn it on here, the KT display. Same display, might be a slightly different version, but basically the same display that I've got on the Blackbird. You can, it's also on the Crusader and Avengers now. You can decrease, increase speed limits, change it so it's a class, you know, 1, 2, 3, 20 miles an hour, 28 miles an hour. You can change how the throttle works, which this is a thumb throttle on the right-hand side. You've got the standard Shimano shifter. You know, I'd like to see a shifter a little bit nicer once you start getting over $2,000, but at the same time, these always work pretty reliably, so I don't really have any complaints about them. But good display, and it is the version with the USB port too. So you can plug in extra accessories, your phone, whatever you want, into the display too. It's got a headlight, got a tail light. Those are both wired into the main battery, so you don't have separate batteries or anything there. Again, I already mentioned the 750 watt Bafang motor, and I did go ahead and take this bike, just cruise up our little hill right here, check the power, and it feels good. I can hop on the bike if you guys would like and just show you what the power's like, but it's a proper 750 watt motor. Let's see. Lewis, he's talking about helmets. Yeah, everybody's talking about the battery, which it's big. Wolf JM11 says, what's the warranty and how does it work? That's a good question. I'll probably have to check their website and see if it's, I think it was 12 months. We'll have to check and see, just verify if that's what it is or if it's longer. What I'm going to do is go to drivenbikes.com and let's find out. Here, let's check it out. So we can go like this. I can share my screen here. This is fancy technology we got here. We might as well use it, right? Okay, we're gonna share this. There we go. Okay, here is their website. They got a nice fancy video. There's a little chat thing. And if we go to shop, again, this is the Playa Express 750. So that's this bike right here, $22.99. Really reasonable price. And oh, they've got a firm financing. Look at that. Okay, so yeah, 21 amp hour. Samsung cells in their battery, another plus. And let's see. The warranty was the question. So I'm looking. Warranty. They say 1 to 5 years, depending on component from the date of original purchase. So 1 to 5 years. I guess we'd have to go find on their website the more details about the warranty. See, I knew there was something else there I should look at. So probably my guess is it's probably 1 year on like electronics that have potential to wear out, and the 5 years probably relates to like the frame and things like that. So hopefully that helps. I would definitely reach out to Driven Bikes if you have any specific questions about that. Benjamin R12 is a member of the channel. Thank you for joining. Join us in the chat as well. That's what is there. Rich, 5 color options. Oh yeah, we should show those off. I'm still sharing my screen over here. Let's scroll down here. So again, I have right with me the steel blue. If you guys want more close-ups, we can get more. They have a red and black. Looks like this. They have a light blue. It's like it's not a baby blue, but it's a light blue. And then they have matte black. Very nice. Matte black with red rims. Cool. White. Very nice. And white with red rims. So if you count the wheel color combinations, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different color combos to choose from. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did I count that right? Matte black. Yeah. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different color combos. So 7 altogether if you count the rims. So good options. Other than that, they're all the same bike, no matter what options you choose as far as color. But it's a very just basic, in my mind, solid bike. Brian says, so no to electric mini bikes. I'm not sure what you're asking there. You'll have to be more specific. All right, stopping the screen share. Back to the camera. back to the bike in the sun. But yes, it's nice out today, isn't it? Okay. So if you guys have any questions, ask away. But I am going to step away from the computer for a second. We're going to turn the bike on. The battery, I will tell you, is not 100% charged. I had it on the chargers for a little while for the review, but we're not 100%. So whatever you see in this video, it's possible it has just a hair more performance. Big comfy saddle right here. It has a basic suspension seat post built in as well. Something that is maybe a small thing, but really rare on e-bikes. Comes with a water bottle holder. There you go. The rack and fenders, of course. The fenders and wheels being color matched, I think, is just a nice touch. The stem is adjustable, so you can bring the handlebars up really high. But yeah, we got nice big rotors, hydraulic brakes. This is a good upgrade to what most people are buying. And actually, I was wrong. I guessed 180 millimeter rotors when I was on the other side of the bike. Now that I'm on this side and looking at them, these are 203. So now the price looks even better, honestly. You've got 203 millimeter rotors, hydraulic brakes, 750 watt motor, 48 volt, 21 amp hour battery, comfy seat with a basic, but it's got a suspension seat post. And then you've got a display that you can program to unlock the power and the speed. That's a pretty good deal, I think, for what you're getting. Just for comparison, you know, the Blackbird bike, obviously totally different style of bike. You're paying a few $100s more and you're getting, you know, a suspension fork and a couple of other small accessories, things like the torque sensor, things that cost us more money to build into the bike. This is a pretty good value. Now, one thing that is cheaper that I noticed, you know, for the price point, the front wheel bolts on instead of being like a quick release. Not a big deal. Hardly anybody ever takes their wheel on and off that often. Just means you have to have a wrench instead of a quick release or a through axle type setup. You know, off-roading type stuff, it's not going to matter because you're not going to do off-roading type stuff on this bike. So yeah, that's pretty impressive that these are such big rotors. That's a good brake setup, and that's a nice touch. So we're going to, I'm going to double check the settings right here, since we can. And speed limit, yeah, we can change that. So it looks like it was set at 28. They have the bike labeled as a class 3. And the power is set up to the maximum out of the box. So it was limited to 28 miles an hour and labeled as a class 3 bike. That's how it came. The throttle is disabled on 0, and as soon as you are on 1, then the throttle gives you full power. And here we go. We're having fun.
I can tell that. You always have fun.
Always. So the brake pads need a little braking in. It's stopping nice and firmly because the rotors are so big. But it's all needs a little brake in so I can really feel the stopping power. But I think once those are broken in, that's going to feel really good. Power felt right. Yeah, it's comfy. It reminds me, if you weren't looking at it side by side, this bike reminds me a lot of the Cheetah sitting on it. Similar position. The cranks are in front of you just a little bit. I'd have to measure. They might be a little further forward on the Cheetah, but slightly forward cranks. That gets you into that comfortable, like, you know, what I call like a recliner position. It's not reclined, but it's more comfortable like that. I would say if you like the comfort of the Cheetah, but you don't like the motorcycle look, this is perfect. And actually has a bigger battery than what that comes with. Now the Cheetah has the advantage that it just has that really cool styling, that massive headlight. You're going to pay a little extra for those things, but everything else, they're pretty comparable bikes. So I wasn't sure what to expect because I hadn't seen this specific bike. I just kind of know driven bikes and what their bikes look like in the past, and I think for a price versus value, they're in a really good spot. And this one hasn't disappointed. So, and service-wise, you know, I haven't heard anything negative whatsoever, and I haven't had any negative experiences. So, I guess call it a glowing recommendation if you want. But yeah, I'm very happy with that bike. Not a lot of bikes. Hey, I was just at the Otter Classic. Bikes everywhere, e-bikes everywhere, and e-bikes on average were just so much more expensive than that. And by huge margins, the average e-bikes you were paying more than double that price. The batteries were smaller, the power was less. You know, they might have had some nicer components, but if you're just cruising around on the beach, that was that's a good deal right there. All right, let's see. I'm just checking your other comments here. Don, wondering what range. 21 amp hour battery is pretty big. The Foxbat and the Sabre have the same size battery, but they're running a little higher wattage with the 1,000-watt mid-drive motors. But a 30 to 50 mile range should be a piece of cake on something like this. I wouldn't doubt on a beach cruising type scenario where it's relatively flat, you know, that you could do a 50, 60 mile ride without any trouble at all. As long as you're pedaling a little bit, that should be pretty easy. So 21 amp hour battery is a big battery. That's going to get you really far. I don't think anybody's going to have any problems. I'm about 5'10". It's for your height comparison there, and currently over 200 pounds. So hopefully that helps answer your question. Good thing I don't mind the personal questions. Rich, probably a good bike for the Arizona Loop. Agreed. This would make it a long ways around the loop. Would be perfect for something like that. Nice smooth bike trail. This bike would be a ton of fun. Again, not an off-road bike. If I took this down the single track trails down the road here, it wouldn't be much fun. Paul, if the AA Arizona Loop is ever open to e-bikes, Jessica could probably chime in on that. She is going to an event on the loop, and they are allowing e-bikes during that event. It's not like they changed the rules, but e-bikes are just, I don't know, it's confusing. It doesn't make any sense. Point is, there are people trying to change that. I think it's going to happen. Let's see. Question here about voltage. Let's see. We got to think about this one for a second here. Could you explain what the voltage and current readouts mean to an e-bike's rider that can be seen on your display? Sure, that's a pretty simple one. So this is a 48-volt battery. Now, 48 volts is the nominal voltage, meaning that's the typical voltage it's going to be at while you're riding. 48-volt battery is actually going to be higher than that, about 54 volts when it's fully charged, and it's going to be lower than that when it's dead. Lower meaning like low 40s. It's not going to go down to zero. It's going to cut off way above that. Lithium batteries have a fairly narrow range where they operate. So 48 volts is what we call the nominal voltage. That's what you're seeing on the display. Now there is a little bar graph right there next to it on this display to give you kind of a rough idea of your battery life. The voltage is more accurate. So if you learn those voltages and what the ranges are, that's the best way to determine how much range you have left. And then the wattage or current readouts just depends on the bike. So this one gives us a wattage on the bottom left. We can see how much power we're drawing, which I suppose I didn't actually look at, but they say 750 plus. I assume that's because this bike actually can push just a hair over 750 watts, but it's rated for 750 watts continuous. The less wattage you're using, the further you're going to go, the more range you're going to have. A quick way to think about it would be that this bike has a 48 volt, 21 amp hour battery. Multiply those two together, you get about a 1 kilowatt hour capacity. are 1,000 watt hours. So if you put this battery on a 1,000-watt bike and actually rode it so hard that you were pulling 1,000 watts all the time, the battery would die in exactly 1 hour because it's a 1,000 watt hour battery. Hopefully that helps. So this being a 750 watt motor and a 1,000 watt hour battery, if you were drawing 750 watts on this very bike for, you would go more than an hour. You'd go about an hour and 15 minutes in theory before you could kill the battery. Now, realistically, when you're on flat ground, it's not drawing that much power, so there's a lot of variables. And if you could do that, you'd probably do like 30 miles an hour. Well, if you can do 30 miles an hour for more than an hour, there's 40 miles of range, not even pedaling. So it kind of gives you some rough ideas how you can calculate range. But at the end of the day, it depends on, you know, rider weight, tire pressure, how steep is the hill, how hard are you pedaling. So those numbers can vary all over the place, but hopefully that helps understand what they are. Jerry says, I'm over 100 miles with the Sabre on the initial charge. It was ridden on assist 1 mostly. So apparently Jerry hasn't even bothered to charge his bike yet. He's braver than I. I charge it after every single ride, but 100 miles, see, on a battery that size. Jerry did it. There's your proof right there. He's not the only one. I know other people have gone over 100 miles on those bikes as well of ours. But when I tell people on the phone how much range does it get, I'm usually saying 30 to 50 miles. Because in this area with our hills, with the power I expect you to use, that's where you could kill it. But just to goes to show, you can go 100 miles on a battery like this if you really want to. Rich, yes, this is a Bafang if that's what you're asking. Carl says, what is the max speed? And I haven't actually tested it, but it's a Bafang motor, 48-volt battery, 26-inch fat tires. I can pretty much tell you that this bike is going to top out at 28 miles an hour or really close to it. It will certainly be close to that. 30 miles an hour, you kind of have to bump the voltage up to like a 52 volt, or the Bafang motor just doesn't quite have the RPMs to get there. So I haven't tested on this specific bike, but I don't see any reason this shouldn't be able to hit 28 miles an hour, you know, 30 if you're pedaling really, really fast, which you may or may not be able to pedal with the gearing it's got on it. But that's roughly what it should get you. Yeah, Michael, as far as throttle only range, again, depends on all those factors I just shared with you. You could also do things like a pulse and glide technique. So that would be where you push the throttle. So there's a thumb throttle on the right, and then you let the bike glide. Because why continue to use power at the higher speed? You can actually use power, get up to speed, let off the power, and then coast as long as you possibly can before you hit the throttle again. And you will get significantly further doing that than you would if you just pinned the throttle all the time. So when you say throttle only, there's still variables there too. Now, speaking of which, there's a bike that holds the world record for the longest, what is it? The furthest range on a single charge. It's from a company called Delfast. The bike is over $6,000. And I have one here for a review, so that will be coming soon. Now, a couple other things I wanted to share with you. I can't answer any Delfast questions yet because I haven't even ridden the thing. It's here, though, and it's charging. The other things I've got, if you're watching this video right now, there is about an hour left or so on the Magicycle giveaway. So if you go to our website, type in the search bar giveaway, you can find the giveaway page or go watch the Magicycle live review. It's one of the last live reviews I did. The link is in the description. We are doing a giveaway of the Magicycle bike. They were very kind about providing a bike to give away to our customers. So thank you to those at Magicycle. So that's the giveaway that's running right now. Make sure to go enter for that. There's, like I said, only about an hour left, so you still got time if you haven't done that. And then tomorrow, Saturday, first thing in the morning, I'm going to do another live review of a bike from a company called Mac Wheel. It's the Mac Mission 100. Now, this is an affordable bike, like $800 price range. They've also agreed to send us a bike to give away. So today you can enter to win the Magicycle. When this live ends, you'll see a link for the live tomorrow morning, and you can enter to win that bike too. Now, as far as the fate of the driven bike, I actually haven't decided what it's going to be yet. We've already got giveaways going on, so I don't want to throw it in there quite yet. If you guys have any ideas, let me know. I like it. It's a lot of fun. Maybe we'll just keep it, ride it around. I don't know. But I like the bike. I think you probably won't go wrong if you buy one of these. And I think service-wise, Benjamin over at Driven Bikes will take care of it. Let's see. Does the bike, Carl, if you're asking about this bike, there's no code necessary. You turn the display on, hold the up and down arrows, enter the settings, change the speed limits, whatever else you want. No password necessary. Super easy. I've got a very detailed video on the KT displays on how to do that. Bart, charging his Blackbirds now. Awesome. I'm sure many Blackbird pre-order people that are waiting are very jealous of you charging your bikes. Yeah, Jessica's on there. Every time we have a giveaway, you need to go to the giveaway page. She's right. So again, giveaway going on right now. Another giveaway starting for another bike tomorrow. Got a bunch of live reviews coming. We've got the I was checking the whiteboard this afternoon, and I think I've got about 10 giveaway. No, I need to take that back. I got about 10 review bikes, some of which will be bikes we give away, but I've got about 10 review bikes on the board. About half of those are already here and lined up and waiting, and the other half are on the way to us. So a bunch more e-bike reviews coming. The Delfast one should be really interesting because it's got a massive battery. It goes like 50 miles an hour and all sorts of crazy stuff on it. But if you want to go check out Driven Bikes, there it is, drivenbikes.com. Tell them I sent you, and have fun no matter what you're riding. So thank you guys. I will be back on another live video first thing, well, 9:30 a.m. But first thing when I get back here in the shop tomorrow morning. And if you're local, stop by after the live. Come take bikes for a test ride. Got a bunch of test rides lined up, and we have room for more. I'll even let you ride the driven bikes right here if you want to.